Hey everybody, this is Pac MMA, and today I'm going to be indulging in a little bit of the not slop content because like I watch this stuff on MMA YouTube, but like the the classic MMA YouTube slideshow stuff because I've been meaning to make this particular video for like over a month now, and I haven't uploaded a video in like a week because I've been playing so much Pokemon. And so yeah, I'm finally getting around to making this particular video. These are fighters that gain superpowers in the Apex. They become invincible in the Apex, so less to speak. So yeah, let's just get right into it. First up is Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I have fully come around on Waldo, mainly out of pure comedy. I have fully come around on Waldo when he robbed Andrei Arlovsky and the other old guy that I can't remember the name of. He robbed both of those guys, like being super annoying, just taunting, like getting chewed up by leg kicks, but still taunting and like acting like he was, styling on them. He robbed both of those guys, and which was hilarious, but made a lot of people mad, made myself very mad at the time because I was like, what is this guy taunting for? He's just not doing anything. But he goes on a generational Apex run. He KOs Ryan Spann. He KOs Ante Delija after getting eye poke TKO. He literally ate an eye poke TKO and then came back to immediately finish Delija. Obviously, that's kind of like an iffy situation because Delija was coming off of an adrenaline dump, and so it's a little bit different, but you get the point. It was just a very crazy fight, especially right after the Aspinall eye poke situation. So really funny stuff. And then he absolutely destroyed Ryan Spann in his heavyweight debut. That was also a very funny fight. Like, if you don't find yourself humored at Waldo Cortes-Acosta's run, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you gotta find this stuff funny. Waldo Cortes-Acosta, people. He gains superpowers in the Apex, trust me, guys. All right, next up is Mateusz Gamrot. He literally did rob Armin Tsarukyan. So to preface this, having superpowers in the Apex can mean a ton of different things. It means you can rob anyone and everybody on the planet in the Apex. It means you can get away with anything. And Gamrot is the prime example of this. He literally robbed Armin Tsarukyan. Armin fell to his knees and got robbed. And he used literal psychic powers to blow up Fiziev's knee. Actually, on the thumbnail of this video, it used to be Gamrot with an aura. I'll show it on screen. It used to be that, but then I changed it to Vallejos, who we'll get to in a minute. But literally robbed Armin Tsarukyan, blew up Fiziev's knee with telekinetic psychic powers, and has smudged multiple people in the Apex. He smudged Ludovic Klein with relative ease on short notice. I think that was on short notice. And also it was a main event on short notice too, because the women's main event, I believe Macy Barber had like a seizure or something, if you guys remember that. Anyway, he is undefeated in the Apex. He did lose on Fight Island to Gordam Kutaladze, but that doesn't count because it's not the Apex. It's not the same, guys. It's not the same. Yeah, Mateusz Gamrot, absolute Apex demon, Apex warrior, has Apex superpowers. He has Apex plot armor. All right, next up we have Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD, big CLD. He's a nasty finisher in the Apex. He absolutely destroyed, well, he didn't destroy, but he very handily finished Eric Anders after landing a nasty spinning elbow up against the cage, or as in he finished him up against the cage. And he was spamming spinning back fists against Marco Tulio. He landed it one time, rocked him super bad, had him on jelly legs, and then blasted him out cold with this right hand. And it was a nasty finish. This is one of the KOs of the year, honestly. It is a great finish. He turns into a crazy finisher in the Apex, man. He's 4-1 in the Apex. I forget who he lost to. I think it might have been Armin Petrosian. I think that was in the Apex. And outside of the Apex, this is also sort of a thing that I'm considering is that how are you performing outside the Apex compared to inside the Apex? Because clearly some of these guys perform very well inside the Apex and some do not. And Christian CLD is one of those guys who just doesn't have the same sort of killer instinct outside of the Apex, because he lost to RoboCop, which obviously that's different because he's also just a big step up in competition compared to Tulio and Eric Anders. But you get my point. Yeah, CLD, a really nasty guy, really big prospect at middleweight now because he was sort of like on the in sort of this unranked area with like Cesar Almeida and all these other guys like who are sort of floating around the unranked sections of middleweight. But now CLD has a real case to get a ranked opponent soon. Perhaps a Marvin Vettori or something who may or may not be on this list. But yeah, by the way, this list will have like 10 fighters. We're going to go over 10 fighters here today. All right, so next up we have Sean Strickland. Obviously, Sean Strickland is a pretty classic Apex fighter. Whenever you hear fighters who do well in the Apex, Sean Strickland is probably going to be brought up among those names. So obviously Sean Strickland back in like 2020, 2021 when the Apex was like the only way you could watch the sport, he was talking a lot. He was talking a lot in the Apex. But yeah, he beat Imavov on like a week's notice. I think it was like the first main event of 2022, I believe, 2023, I forget. It was the first card of one of those years and he showed up and pretty handily beat Imavov, which is extremely impressive considering the run that Imavov's on now. He also smashed Brendan Allen and Abus Magomedov, who was undefeated at the time, I believe. And it was just very impressive finish over Brendan Allen at this point in his career, because Allen is now also at the top of the division. And he's 7-1 in the Apex, which only loss coming to Jared Cannonier, which a lot of people think was a robbery. So yeah, Sean Strickland, not much to say, obviously has Apex superpowers, very clear. All right, so next up we have Aljamain Sterling, and I only really have him here because this is sort of the exact like definition of what I mean when talking about Apex superpowers is randomly gaining finishing ability. He finished Corey Nerdhagen with ease, got the rear naked choke really easily on Corey. You know, very impressive win for Aljo, one of his best wins, honestly, because nobody's really finished Sandhagen like this, especially as of late. So yeah, and he won a title off of a DQ, basically off of losing. Obviously, Piotr Jan did an illegal move, but what I'm saying is that he like won like the first round or so and just kind of got completely beat up for the rest of it. Yeah, it's just a very funny set of circumstances. Obviously, there's also this clip that's on the screen, which is also very funny. He is 2-0 in the Apex, I believe, with these 2 wins. It just makes it all the more comedic that Aljo only has these 2 fights, and one of them is like they're both on like opposite ends of the spectrum of what I mean when a fighter has Apex superpowers, is that they always find some way to win or they become an unstoppable monster like finishing monster. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, Aljamain Sterling, absolutely killer Apex demon, Apex superpower. absolute monster in the Apex. Here we have Aljamain Sterling. All right, next up we have Kevin Vallejos, which yeah, he's one of the best prospects at 145 right now. We are the king of the Apex. He is 4-1 in the Apex. He lost to Jean Silva on the Dana White's Contender Series in a really competitive fight, but obviously Jean won that pretty handily. He's the first person to KO Giga Chikadze with a KO of the year contender on the last card of this year, which was incredible. That KO was awesome, kind of overshadowed by the main events KO, but people forget, man. Giga's never been knocked out. He's the first one to KO Giga Chikadze, which is a pretty impressive feat, even though Giga is kind of like weird, like bottom rank contender who's never really had like the best win and is kind of known for getting schooled by Calvin Kattar after talking a lot of crap throughout his rise into the division. And he's kind of old, but you get my point. Giga's a well-touted striker and he's never been KO'd, so pretty big achievement for Vallejos, and he is the king of the UFC Apex. I did not want to put this picture of Sungwoo Choi getting finished. That was tragic. But anyway, you'll see one more of those actually, because next up we have Khalil Rountree Jr. I'm personally not a fan of Khalil Rountree Jr. at all, but I figured it'd only be fair to put him on this list because he is 5-0 in the Apex. And this is another thing that I'm talking about here. We have another big robbery. Dustin Jacoby was completely robbed by Khalil Rountree, and yeah, really unfortunate for him. But obviously there's the casual sentiments, like people say like Khalil beats people like they owe him money. He beats them like he's Batman, all this and that. And to be fair, Khalil does have nasty ground and pound. He does have the body kicks to a grounded opponent. He has the like very comedic like wind up hammer fists like that he does, which are pretty brutal. And he did finish Anthony Smith in the 3rd round. Took him 3 rounds to do it, and then got a title shot versus Alex Pereira. But hey, we're gonna chill out on that. So I'm definitely definitely an Apex warrior right here is Khalil Rountree. All right, next up we have Steve Garcia, kind of a newcomer to, maybe not so much of a newcomer, but definitely on the rise, definitely on people's radar as an Apex warrior, as an Apex legend. Nasty finishers in the Apex. He's on a nasty finishing streak. Well, he's kind of like, he's like not on a finishing streak anymore because he didn't finish Calvin Kattar, but otherwise, he has had nothing but finishes in the UFC, I believe. And most of those came in the Apex. Again, here's the picture of Sungwoo Choi getting flattened, but this is not pretty. I don't like that at all. But anyway, he was on a 5-fight finish streak before Kattar, and he's 6-0 in the UFC Apex. Absolutely destroyed David Onama. Maybe the fight was rigged, to be honest, in favor of Garcia, but we'll never know. But yeah, Steve Garcia is a great Apex superhero. Maybe that's what we'll call them. Apex demons, Apex superheroes, whatever you want to say. All right, next up we have Serghei Spivac. I mean, he beat the other Apex demon, the blob heavyweight, in Tybura. He's a blob king himself, and he's blobbed over a lot of people in the UFC Apex. He has 5 finishes in the Apex. Isn't that crazy? In today's heavyweight division, he has 5 finishes in the Apex. That's incredible. He is 6-1 in the Apex. He's only lost to Tom Aspinall, which, hey, that's completely fair because Tom Aspinall technically has kind of like sort of never lost in the UFC. I mean, like, you could call the Blades loss a real loss, but he's never really lost. So that in itself triumphs Apex superpowers, and I think that's fair. There's like a tier, there's like a sort of a hierarchy to how plot armor works in the UFC, and Apex superpowers is like kind of on the lower end of that, if you know what I'm saying. And lastly, we have Marvin Vettori, the Italian Dream, W Marvin.
Fuck. Fuck.
Marvin is 4-2 in the Apex, but it feels like he lives in the Apex. A lot of these fighters, you think, like when I show them on screen, it feels like you've only ever seen them fight in the Apex. And Marvin definitely feels that way. Obviously, that's not true because he's fought a ton of times. If anything, he's obviously fought more outside the Apex. But you get what I'm saying. Like, beat Paulo Costa, lost to Jared Cannonier, beat Kevin Holland, had the orc scream against that one guy. You know what I'm talking about, but...
Takes less than a round to take care of it!
Yeah, he did kind of get robbed by Dolidze. I remember watching that fight and being very frustrated with Dolidze because I'm not a Dolidze fan, but I felt that he could have won that fight. It was a very close fight, but yeah, nobody cares though because it's Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze too. So yeah, superpowers saved him from dying versus Jared Cannonier. His chin was nearly disintegrated, but he just took all the shots he could take because of that Apex juice, that Apex plot armor. You know, I think that's why Marvin's chin has gone so far, is because the Apex has rejuvenated his chin and fueled it to live on forever. And yeah, that just about does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this lazier style of content, but I just want to have a video out there for now before I make another more high effort like video like I did last time, which please watch the what's happening to Korean MMA if you haven't already, because I've worked very hard on that video and I would appreciate it if you watched it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you enjoyed the content, please comment down any other Apex superpowers, Apex demons that I didn't mention, because I know there's quite a few fighters that I did not put on this list, like Kevin Holland and those kinds of fighters. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.